If you're watching this video, chances are that you're worried about losing your gains during Ramadan, because I get this question every single year when Ramadan comes around, but this is the first time I'm actually going to go over it in a video and give my 2 cents. I'm going to cover some training through Iftaar or Suhoor, so be sure to stick around to the end of the video. Anyways, cue the intro. So one of the key things you got to do when you want to try and maintain your gains and make sure you don't shrink is obviously make sure to keep hitting those calories. So you're going to need to eat a lot more calorie dense foods. Try and make them healthier when you can. In terms of the food, I know this is a religious month and you're doing this for religious reasons, which means most likely when you're breaking your fast, you probably are going to be eating with your family. So I'm not going to go into the point of telling you to like really focus on the macros throughout this period, especially because you only have a small eating window to get all your food in. So personally, if it was me, what I would do is I wouldn't focus so much on macros during this period, because at this point you're doing a religious fast anyway. So the main thing I'd really focus on here is, if you don't want to lose your gains, is focus on the calories. So this is one of the few times I'll say focus on the calories rather than the macros. The macros is great when you've got like the whole day to play with, but when you've got your eating window and your main focus is not to lose the gains, focus on trying to hit your maintenance calories. If you're going to try and aim for a bulk, then you can, but personally I feel like rather than through Ramadan thinking about trying to bulk still and trying to maintain getting bigger, I would personally think about maintaining your size so you don't lose any gains. So when Ramadan's over, you can go back to whatever goal you're doing. If it's bulking, then you can do it then. Is something high fat. I know that sounds crazy when I'm talking about gains, but when I say that I mean healthy fats. Don't just sit there eating, oh no, slices of butter. I'm talking about eating like healthy fat foods, and the reason I say that is because fats usually are quite filling for your body. So eating more healthy fats will definitely help you get close to your maintenance calories, because obviously fats just contain more calories than the other macros. Also when you're like snacking on foods, you can think of things like peanuts. Peanuts would be great to snack on, one because they don't usually fill you up when you're actually eating them, so it's good to like snack on to hit your calories, so you can use as a backup alongside your regular meals, which that's high fat and high protein. But if you can, or if you're really that super dedicated, then you can obviously try and go hit macros as well. But for the most part, my main goal when it comes to the food would be making sure you're hitting your maintenance calories. That would be like numero uno. Another thing which is obviously crucial is the water consumption. You need to keep that water consumption high as possible. When it comes to human anatomy, water is the most essential thing humans need. So obviously, as soon as you have your eating window, just constantly keep chugging the water. That is going to help you greatly, especially when you talk about training. What I want to talk about now is the actual training routines. If it was me personally, just because I know that from the lack of food and all the fasting, you're going to be a lot weaker than how you normally are, so you can't train with the same intensity. If it was me, usually when I have like my kind of slower periods of gym routines, I normally switch over to a full body routine. And say that I normally train 5 to 6 days a week, I'd probably switch over to maybe 3 to 4 times a week, but doing like a full body routine. So at least then you're working a bit of everything and keeping yourself active during this period, like this whole month of Ramadan. So that would be my personal advice. If you really love your routine, I would stick to what you're currently doing, but what I would do is lessen the volume. So you're still doing it enough to like maintain your actual physique, but you're not trying to, I wouldn't be stressing yourself thinking about PRs and things like that. Like it has been said that people have managed to hit PRs. Like I was speaking to a guy at work, he trains during Ramadan sometimes, and he said that he was hitting PRs, but personally I would more focus on being safe during this period. If I'm a lot weaker, I just know from times when I've been really weak in the gym, I don't think about PRs. My main focus is trying to make sure that I don't injure myself, and that would be one of the biggest tips when you're in the gym. Make sure you're training safely. If you feel like you ain't got the energy to lift that weight, don't do it, don't risk it. The last thing you want is to injure yourself during Ramadan, and then you're gonna be like basically out of the gym for like God knows how long because you've injured yourself. So this is one of those times where you have to think about training smarter, not necessarily harder. So you have to think, what is going to be better for me in the long run? Is it better for me to try and overexert myself and end up getting injured, or potentially making myself feel even worse tomorrow when I have to carry on another day of fasting? Or is it better to kind of ease off the gas a little bit, still work out, still have a nice workout, but just make sure you're not going over the top to the point where you're going to suffer for it the next day? So depending on when you decide to train, if it's before Iftaar or Suhoor, your gym may be closed. I live in Birmingham, so there's a lot of 24-hour gyms. So if you could maybe for a month sign up to a 24-hour gym, so at least then you'll be more flexible. But if it's a case of gyms are no-go, you can still work out efficiently at home. There is various workouts on my channel you can search. They have like a little home workout with dumbbells, or you can even just do plyometric things, just more explosive movements. And you can even use things like chairs and anything that's got semi bit of weight to it to kind of help you. You can be squatting while holding something above your head. It doesn't necessarily have to be a dumbbell, just something heavy. So those are things you can do. I'm not going to say that home workout during Ramadan is going to be the best for like your gains, but if you don't have the option to go to the gym due to when you're going to train, it's making the best out of a situation you have no control over. I mentioned just about me being in Birmingham, so yeah, I'm in the UK. I should have mentioned that earlier on. So obviously when I'm talking about these fasted windows, I'm catering it to people that I know that are in England that have asked me this question. So obviously by the time they break in your fast, that's going to be around 9:30 PM here. And then when you're going to start finishing your eating window at Suhoor, it's going to be around 3 AM. So obviously that eating window, a lot of gyms are usually closed during that period. But some people want to train obviously before Iftaar when they're fasted. And that brings on to the next question. When it comes to training fasted, can you actually do it or can it be achieved? The answer is yes, but it will be a lot more draining and taxing on the body, especially if you're not used to training fasted, because you have to think about no water in your body for a good amount of hours, especially if you have like a day job or school. So you haven't been sitting at home, you've been doing things throughout the day, moving around, so you haven't been actually burning calories. And for you to then train maybe after around just before Iftar, so that'd be around 6-7 PM, it's going to be a lot draining on your body. So that comes down to each individual's probably different. I've looked into other people and some have said they can do it. For example, AJ Lipsett, another YouTuber, is one of the people I kind of used for inspiration for this video. He said he doesn't mind training during Iftar and he seems to do okay with it, but he did say the first time he ever did it, that was very difficult for him. So some other YouTubers such as Twin Workout, they talk about they personally train during the actual eating windows. So it all comes down to each person's personal preference and how your body's actually feeling. So I can't really say with an absolute fact you can, it all comes down to you. Finally, when it comes down to supplements, here's what I would think. Purely because I did say to you guys, mainly focus on the calories over the macros. I would say that if your macros are like totally off, like literally, it's just nowhere near it, you can consider having a protein source, whether it's whey or casein. You can also think about having certain minerals and vitamins in pill form, just because you may not be eating the amount of food that you normally would, like a great variety. Like you may not be eating as much vegetables and things like that because they're filling you up but you're not hitting your actual calories. So you may want to consider like getting more kind of minerals and vitamins in pill form, just to make sure your body's getting the correct amount of nutrients throughout this period. Those two I'd say were the main things I'd think about. You can also, I guess, take BCAAs because it is meant to help you retain muscle tissue, but there probably will be very minimal and little difference if you do take it. So that will be at the very bottom of the pile. If you have it in your house, then feel free to take it during that period. But overall, I wouldn't really think about it. I'd mainly focus on maybe the other two, just to make sure your protein levels isn't suffering too much and you are still getting the minerals and vitamins that you should be getting in a day. Alright guys, I feel like that hopefully should help you along in your journey. Every single year I always get asked this question. I normally don't answer it purely because I haven't experienced it myself. But then someone commented on my Instagram and said, if you make the video and it helps at least one person, isn't it worth making the video? And that was kind of like a good answer and I felt like, okay, I'll make the video. So I looked online, I googled it, asked people I know that train that are Muslim. I tried to learn how to pronounce the words as well. If I did mispronounce any of them, please forgive me, I didn't mean it. It's really hard for me to get my tongue around it. And I also looked into some other YouTubers so you guys can actually have someone to think about as well. So there's two channels I looked at as well, which is Twin Workout and AJ Lifts. They're both doing like a Ramadan series, so if you want to see more tips from someone that's actually experiencing Ramadan right now, feel free to check out their channels. I'll be sure to link it down below. If I haven't, please comment and let me know that I haven't done it yet. Feel free to tell them that I sent you, but overall, those will be a good channels if you need motivation throughout Ramadan. But the biggest thing I would like for anyone that's watching this video who trains during Ramadan, please comment below any sort of tips you feel like someone else may need, or if you agree with something I've said, please comment down below, because I want the comment section to almost be like a resource for people to look and kind of get tips from, especially if those of you out there are at training and you're doing fairly well in your routine, or there's certain tips you feel like I haven't mentioned or you think's great, please comment them below, because then someone else that could be watching this video that's looking for Ramadan help, they can read the comments, see your tip, and it'll help them out greatly. So please do that. It doesn't matter if it's the biggest tip or a small tip. All it takes is one piece of information that helps one person and it makes it worth the comment. So please do that. Anyways people, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. But for the most part, all I want to say is good luck with Ramadan and be sure to stay safe, stay healthy and stay getting gains. Peace out people.